So, you want to run a game of Blood on the Clocktower? Awesome. But maybe you're looking at that Storyteller rulebook and feeling a little intimidated. Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break down exactly how to teach and manage this game because it's truly one of the most rewarding jobs in all of gaming. Let's jump in.
First things first, being the storyteller is a huge deal. You are way more than just a referee. You're not just calling out night and day. No, you are the engine of the story. You are actively shaping the entire experience, building suspense, and making sure that both the good and evil teams always feel like they have a real shot at winning.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by digging into what makes this role so unique. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of setup and rules. After that, we'll talk characters, the very tricky art of misinformation, we'll walk through that crucial first night, and we'll wrap up with how to make your players feel like rock stars.
So, let's dive right into that first part, the pivotal role. What really makes being a storyteller in Clocktower so different from, just moderating another social deduction game? Well, it all boils down to one thing. You are in the game.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It's night and day, right? In a game like Werewolf, the moderator is pretty passive. They report what happens. But as a storyteller, you're playing an active, integral role. You're juggling all these complex character abilities. And this is the big one. You can actually provide misinformation to balance the game. You're not just a facilitator, you're basically a co-strategist.
And this is your most important tool, the Grimoire. Think of it as your secret control panel for the entire game. It holds the absolute, undeniable truth, who everyone is, what team they're on, and any weird statuses they might have. Keeping this book's secrets is everything because it's the foundation of the whole puzzle you're building.
Okay, now that we get the why of the role, let's get practical with the how. Game setup and rules. A truly great game starts with a great setup, and it's on you to lay that foundation before anyone even sits down.
Now, the physical space might seem like a small thing, but trust me, it's everything. You want those chairs in a circle. You want everyone looking at each other, seeing every nervous tick and subtle glance. That's where the drama happens. The board in the middle with the life tokens gives everyone a clear, at-a-glance idea of the state of the game. It's a simple stage, but it's perfect for the story you're about to tell.
And now for the really fun secret part. This is where you become the architect of the puzzle. Based on how many people are playing, you secretly pick all the character rules for the game. The whole shebang. Townsfolk, outsiders, minions, and the demon. You put them in your grimoire, and nobody else knows what characters are even on the table. That secrecy, that's the heart of the mystery.
Okay, this right here is probably the single most important piece of advice for any new storyteller, so listen up. Do not overwhelm your players. You're going to be tempted to explain every single rule and interaction right at the start. Don't do it. Just give them the basics, and then you can introduce the more complex stuff as it actually happens in the game. It makes it so much easier for everyone to get into it.
All right, next up, let's break down who is actually living in this doomed town. It's time to talk character archetypes. At its heart, yeah, it's a game of good versus evil, but oh man, the roles on those teams are so much more interesting than you'd think.
So Team Good isn't just one big happy family. First, you've got your townsfolk. These are your heroes, your detectives, the core of your information gathering machine. But then, you've got the outsiders. Now, they are absolutely on the good team, but their abilities, well, they can cause trouble, they can confuse things. It adds this fantastic, tricky layer to the whole puzzle for the good team.
Just look at some of these classics from the first script, Trouble Brewing. You got the chef, who gets a juicy piece of info right from the jump, the empath, who gets this constant read on their neighbors, the fortune teller is out there actively hunting the big bad, and the slayer, whoa, the slayer is like a silver bullet, one shot to just end the game if they guess right. These roles together are a powerhouse of deduction.
And on the flip side, you've got Team Evil. They have their own command structure. You've got the demon. This is the big boss, the one who kills every night. Their whole goal is just to survive. And then you have the minions. Think of them as the demon's secret service. Their entire job is to lie, to misdirect, to sow chaos, and to protect their boss at all costs.
And these minions are just devious. The poisoner can just turn off a good player's ability. The spy gets to literally peek at your notes and see the grimoire. The Scarlet Woman is an insurance policy, ready to become the new demon if the old one gets caught. And the Baron just messes with the numbers from the very beginning. They are a formidable team of saboteurs for sure.
Okay, now we are getting into the really juicy, nuanced, and honestly the most creative part of being a storyteller. We're talking about the art of misinformation. This is all about what you do when a player's ability isn't working right.
So here's the deal. When a player is drunk or poisoned, their special power just stops working. But, and this is the absolute key, you never, ever tell them that. Instead, when they go to use their ability at night, you wake them up like normal and you give them false information. Now, it has to be plausible, right? The goal is to gently mislead, not to make things nonsensical.
The drunk is the perfect example of this. It's like a little magic trick you perform. Before the game starts, you take the drunk token out and you put a normal townsfolk token in its place. Let's say the chef. So some player draws the chef token. But in your grimoire, you secretly mark them as is the drunk. They will think they're the chef all game long, but the information you feed them every night, totally bogus. So you might be asking, why would I lie to my players? Well, it's all about one thing: balance. You're using misinformation to maintain what the game calls the tension of the wire. You want the game to be a nail-biter. If the good team is just steamrolling and figuring everything out too fast, a little bit of bad info can protect the evil team and keep that tension high for everyone right up until that final dramatic vote.
All right, the town is built, the roles are assigned, the stage is set. It is time for the first night. This is, without a doubt, the most important phase of the entire game. This is where you set everything in motion.
And this has to be done in a very precise order, so listen up. First, you wake up all the minions together. They get to see each other, and you show them who their demon is. Then, the demon wakes up, and you show them who their minions are. Then comes a critical step. You show the demon 3 good character tokens that are not in play. These are their bluffs. This is their cover story for the day. And finally, you wake up the important townsfolk one by one to give them their first clues.
And then, the sun comes up. You'll announce if anyone died in the night, and then you take a step back. Your job, for the most part, is to be quiet. The day phase belongs to the players. This is their time to talk, to argue, to accuse, and eventually to vote on who to execute. It's where all the info and all the misinformation comes crashing together.
All right, last section. And this one is so important because it's all about your players. A good storyteller can run a game, but a great storyteller knows how to empower their players to have an absolutely unforgettable time, especially if they're new.
Now, you never want to tell people how to play, but you can give them a gentle nudge. You might pull a good player aside before the game and say, hey, just think about when you might want to reveal your info. Or you can suggest to an evil player, your goal is to blend in, so think about what good character you want to pretend to be. And most importantly, make sure everyone knows they can come ask you questions privately. Let them discover the deep strategy on their own terms.
So that's the core of it. Being a storyteller is so much more than just knowing rules. You're a director. You're a balancer. You're a co-conspirator in creating this amazing, memorable experience for your friends. You have all the tools you need to guide the narrative and build that suspense. So the only real question left is, what kind of story are you going to tell?